In the serene town of Saskatoon, a dark mystery lingers amidst its frosty silence. Nestled in the heart of Saskatchewan, Saskatoon is a city where the beauty of nature collides with the echoes of the past. The crisp air and tranquil streets paint a picture of peace. But not so long ago, this scenic setting was the backdrop for a chilling event that shook its community to the core. It was on a cold day in October, when the town's gentle quiet was shattered. 38-year-old Janet Sylvester, a woman whose life was a journey of vibrant travels and heartfelt stories, was found lifeless in a secluded wooded area. This discovery cast a shadow over Saskatoon, turning its picturesque landscapes into scenes of a grim mystery. The impact was profound. Residents, once comforted by their peaceful surroundings, now faced the haunting reality that such tragedy could unfold in their midst. As we delve deeper into the life and untimely demise of Janet, we uncover the layers of this somber tale, woven into the fabric of Saskatoon's history. What secrets does this quiet town hold beneath its snowy cloak? Janet Sylvester, a woman with a nomadic soul, found her final resting place far from the journey she envisioned. Born into the DNA nation, Janet's early life was steeped in the traditions and challenges of her community. Raised by her grandparents along with her older sister Tony, her childhood was a patchwork of joyful moments and painful losses. From a young age, Janet's life was a vibrant tapestry of experiences. Her family remembers her as a spirited girl, her laughter a frequent echo through the halls of their modest home. Despite the hardships, her upbringing was rich with cultural heritage, which she carried with her throughout her life. As Janet grew, so did her dreams and her horizon. Her spirit, restless and curious, led her on a journey far from her roots. She moved from Edmonton to Toronto, each city a chapter in her story, each move a search for something more, a place to belong, a space to call her own. But it was Saskatoon, with its wide-open skies and welcoming community, that finally captured her heart. Here, she hoped to plant her roots, to build a life that mirrored the dreams she harbored within. In Saskatoon, Janet's life began to flourish. She was known around town for her bright smile and the way she embraced each day with enthusiasm. Friends and neighbors were drawn to her infectious energy and her readiness to help others. It seemed as though she had finally found her place in the world. But her dreams met a tragic end one cold October night. Janet's vibrant personality and her dreams of a settled life in Saskatoon were cut short, leaving a community in mourning and a family grappling with an unimaginable loss. The light she brought into the lives of those around her was extinguished too soon, and the shadow of that loss lingers in the hearts of all who knew her. October 13th, 1994, started like any other day, but ended in a nightmare for Janet. The morning bore no hint of the horror that would unfold by nightfall. Janet Sylvester, a vibrant 38-year-old with a penchant for exploration, had spent her day as usual engaging with the local community and planning her next adventure. As dusk fell over Saskatoon, Janet was last seen by friends, laughing and in high spirits at a small cafe downtown. It was here in this innocuous setting that she was seen getting into a vehicle, waving goodbye, unaware of the grim fate awaiting her. The driver, a figure shadowed in mystery, remains unidentified, a critical piece of the puzzle lost in the shadows of the night. The hours ticked by and worry began to etch itself into the hearts of those who knew her. When Janet did not return home that evening, panic set in. Her sister Tony, who had been her rock throughout their tumultuous life, felt a chill of dread. She knew something was terribly wrong. By midnight, calls were made, friends were questioned, and the local authorities were alerted. The community of Saskatoon, usually serene and close-knit, was shaken to its core. The streets that once echoed with the sounds of everyday life now whispered fears of what might have happened to one of their own. The discovery of her body in a secluded woodland area only deepened the mystery. As the leaves fell, so did the hopes of a swift resolution to Janet's case. In the wake of the tragic discovery in the woods, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched a full-scale investigation into Janet Sylvester's untimely death. Officers combed the area, searching for any clue that could lead to the perpetrator. Forensic teams worked tirelessly, hoping to uncover fingerprints or DNA evidence that could break the case wide open. Yet despite their meticulous efforts, the leads were scarce and the clues insubstantial. The challenges were formidable. The secluded location of the crime scene meant there were no surveillance cameras, no prying eyes that might have caught a glimpse of the perpetrator. The few hikers and locals who frequented the area could recall nothing out of the ordinary, leaving investigators to rely solely on the physical evidence, which was frustratingly limited. As weeks turned into months, the RCMP explored various theories. Was it a random act of violence, a personal vendetta, or something even more sinister? Each hypothesis was meticulously examined, only to be dismissed when the evidence, or the lack thereof, could not support it. With every dead end, the frustration among the investigative team grew palpable, mirrored by the growing despair of Janet's family. Years passed, but the case grew colder, with justice remaining just out of reach. In the heart of despair, the flame of hope flickers but never extinguishes. Amid the swirling winds of uncertainty and the chilling silence that followed Janet Sylvester's unsolved case, her family, led by her resilient sister Toni, remains a pillar of strength. Toni, with eyes that have seen too much sorrow and hands that have wiped countless tears, channels her grief into action. She keeps Janet's spirit alive, not just within the confines of their home, but as a vibrant presence in the community. Her resolve has turned her into an advocate, tirelessly pushing for the re-examination of the cold case, attending every rally and speaking at every event that keeps the spotlight on Janet's story. Their home, once filled with the laughter and warmth of Janet, now houses mementos and pictures that serve as a daily reminder of the vivacious spirit they're fighting for. Each photograph, each personal belonging of Janet, fuels their commitment to seek justice. As years have rolled into decades, the support from the community has seen its highs and lows. Initial waves of public interest have given way to quieter periods, yet the Sylvester family's resolve has never wavered. They've found allies in unexpected places, strangers moved by their plight, small groups advocating for the rights and recognition of Indigenous women, all adding their voices to the call for justice. Their unwavering resolve is a testament to the strength of those left behind. Janet's story is a single thread in a devastating tapestry of lost voices. While her life and untimely demise are deeply personal, they reflect a broader, more harrowing narrative that has unfolded across Canada. Janet Sylvester was one of the countless Indigenous women whose disappearances or murders have often been overshadowed by a lack of public attention and systemic inefficiencies. This issue transcends individual stories, touching the lives of communities and echoing through the corridors of power where decisions are made. It's a crisis that has prompted calls for a deeper investigation into the systemic biases that exist within our law enforcement and judicial systems. Biases that often leave Indigenous families without the closure they desperately seek. The statistics are more than just numbers. They are stark reminders of lives cut short. Indigenous women are significantly overrepresented among Canada's missing and murdered. This disproportionate impact points to an urgent need for significant societal and policy changes. It calls for us to challenge the structures that allow such tragedies to continue and to amplify the voices that demand change. Initiatives like the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered. Indigenous women and girls have been pivotal. They serve not only to highlight the scale of this crisis, but also to push for actionable recommendations that address root causes and offer hope for healing and justice. Each story, like Janet's, urges us to look deeper and fight harder for justice. As the years pass, the quest for truth continues, with hope as the guiding light. Janet Sylvester's story has become a poignant symbol of the unresolved mysteries that many families carry like a silent burden. Each year that passes without answers only deepens the resolve of Janet's loved ones and the community around them. The impact of her unsolved case stretches far beyond the personal grief of her family. It resonates deeply with communities across the country, reflecting a grim reality faced by many. The lack of closure serves as a stark reminder of the challenges within our justice system, especially in cases involving Indigenous women. Efforts to bring Janet's case to a resolution continue, fueled by the unwavering spirit of those who knew her best. Advocacy groups, family members, and law enforcement remain engaged, hopeful that new information will emerge to bring peace to all who were touched by Janet's life. Janet Sylvester's spirit endures in the ongoing fight for justice, a somber reminder that some stories are still waiting for their final chapter.